Hey everyone, first and foremost, I want to welcome you back to the J Area Podcast. My name is Jose, and I know it's been quite some time since we last spoke. A lot has changed since this past March, which is why I chose to step away for a while. And at first, it was just going to be for a month, but a month turned into 2, then 3, and before I knew it, March turned into August. In that time, I was able to do a lot of self-evaluating and reestablishing what it is that I wanted to do with this podcast. Not only does it serve as an outlet for myself, but it allows me the opportunity to connect with a wide array of individuals who might share similar interests and or opinions. When I initially developed this podcast, I was conflicted with what it was that I wanted to share with all of you. I wondered what it could become and how I could reach that sense of fulfillment that we all yearn for. Those who have been with me since the beginning, you would know that I am a diehard fan of the 49ers and the Golden State Warriors, which is what this podcast was originally intended to cover. Now, although my devotion to those teams have not changed since the last time we spoke, I've come to the realization that I needed to shake things up again. You see, I'm not one to be complacent, and I enjoy a challenge as much as the next guy. But as a wise man would always tell me, sometimes life is a learning process. And this is certainly something that I'm still navigating my way around. You see, I would spend every weekend with that wise man watching our Niners play as we hoped one day to recapture that Lombardi trophy. Of course, when I refer to this wise man, I'm referring to my dad. And for us, football was a safe haven as we found comfort in watching it, discussing it, and just diving into the history of it all. That's something that I'm going to forever treasure for as long as I can. But in between those Sunday matchups, we would often spend the early mornings of the weekdays watching movies before I had to go in for work. It was our way of escaping the realities that we face every day. You see, in our household, there are always two things playing in the house, and that's either sports or movies. I can remember, after finishing every movie, we would ask each other what we thought of it, share our favorite parts, and why those parts resonated with us. There is just something about a movie that connects us all, whether it is simply the plot of the story, or maybe even finding yourself reminiscing about the first time you watched it. It evokes emotion in all of us. It's a source of comfort, a source of relief, and a source that we can all refer to regardless of how we're feeling. Movies can be referenced in all forms of media, as there have been characters like Superman, Luke Skywalker, and even the shark from Jaws that have all become iconic in their own ways. I was always fascinated with diving into what makes people the way they are, and I feel like it stems from my love of movies as we were able to see characters evolve over time. There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to enjoying a movie, as we can all have different interpretations or connections with a certain film. And that's the beauty of having your own podcast, because you can ultimately decide what it is you want to talk about. For years, I turned to movies as a way to escape reality, but in these past few months, it has somehow found its way into bringing me back down to earth. Which is why I am releasing this episode and referring to it as the official reboot of the J Area Podcast, where you will now find me analyzing and discussing some of the biggest movies that have ever graced the silver screen. Not only will I review movies, but I will share some fun facts about each respective film, and maybe even share some personal stories about its significance in my life. Movies have always managed to connect with audiences in a natural way, whether it is the stories they share or the performances that are given. I hope you all will join me in the J Area Podcast as it returns every week beginning this upcoming Monday as we revisit a movie that is near and dear to my heart due to its influence not only on my childhood, but even to this day. This movie resonated with me for so many reasons, but especially now more than ever. And although I won't reveal just what movie it is yet, I just want to take the time to thank you again for all the love and support you've given my family and I. Words truly can't do it justice, and I certainly look forward to reconnecting with all of you very soon.